Hello there. Today, the 18th of December, you will come with me when I go to my remote cabin and spend the night in it. It will be an exciting trip because it's been a long time since I've been there. I will hike in deep snow and through rice, thickets and forest. Because the cabin is close to the Arctic Circle, there is only a small window of daylight before the sun goes down and it gets dark. Sunrise is 10:04 and sunset 12:53. It is light for less than 3 hours. That's why I wander off just at sunrise, because I want some light when I arrive to shovel snow and split firewood for the night. It's minus 15 degrees Celsius, that is 5 Fahrenheit, and it's warmer than we've had recently. Tomorrow it will be even warmer, so I take the opportunity to be in the cabin during the warm period. We have several species of predators, such as bobcats, wolverines, bears and wolves. You don't want to meet any of them in the forest, but hopefully the bears are sleeping. There are plenty of moose and reindeer in the forest, and it shows in all the tracks they have trodden. Most of the time, they run away when you approach, but it happens in rare cases that they attack, especially moose. The biggest danger when hiking in winter is still the clothes. If you are dressed too warmly, you sweat, and your clothes get damp. If you then stop, and the cold penetrates, it is difficult to get the heat back, and there is a risk that you will become chilled. If you are dressed too poorly, you will quickly become chilled and you will not get the heat back if you cannot warm up anywhere. In both cases, you can easily end up in a life-threatening situation. Research has shown that spending time in nature is mentally beneficial. There are studies that have shown that some people with mental problems can reduce their medication if they stay in nature for an hour at a time for a few days a week. I look forward to coming to the cabin. I have a lot to do there, and I hope I can do it all. In any case, I will have a lot of fun. I try to follow the animals' tracks as much as possible. Unfortunately, they rarely lead me where I'm going. It can be challenging as the tracks can be hard right where it is stepped on, and it is soft all around, which means there is a risk of stepping crookedly. If I hurt myself, I have to hope that there is some kind animal that carries me home, but I don't know what kind of animal that would be. I would probably die of fear at the sight of such an animal. It might still be best to try to crawl home, and hope you haven't lost the house key somewhere in the snow. It has snowed extremely heavily, and we have at least twice as much snow compared to what we usually have at this time. Already in November we had the amount of snow that we usually have just before Christmas. We have had extreme cold, and it was about 80 years since we have had this cold in November when I checked the statistics. This means that the snow is light and airy, and, despite the amount, there is little resistance when walking, which is grateful. It will also be cold in the future as the sun approaches sunspot minimum, but that seems to be controversial to talk about. In maybe 10 years, we will start to see noticeable effects from it, if what the researchers say is true. And what will Greta say if that happens? Could it be, blah blah blah? There is much that is controversial in Sweden, especially in politics. A party that has historically been the largest is siding with a member with a clear Hamas connection. Even the party leader started crying in a debate when she was asked about the link to Hamas. She took a clear stand for the member with Hamas connections. Should it be interpreted as the party taking a stand for terror? In any case, it's very scary. It is possible to make a whole film about all the strange things in Swedish and European politics. Now we will leave politics and devote ourselves to the forest before I lie down in the fetal position under a fir tree and cry with a trembling lower lip at all the misery in politics. For some strange reason, I feel unusually frozen even though I keep a fast pace with a somewhat high effort. I'll stop when I find a good spot and make a fire so I can warm myself. I must not stay so long that I have to walk in the dark. In that case, It becomes like a pinball game. You bump into trees you can't see and bounce against another tree, and if you're unlucky, you fall into a hole. In the worst case, the hole is home to a bear, but on the other hand you maybe can warm up, but that requires that it is a kind bear. I find a good spot with dry twigs sticking out of the snow, and nothing unwanted that can catch fire where I light the fire. Despite the heat, I continue to be frozen and feel that it is especially on my right foot. Unfortunately, I did not film the cause of the cold. It turns out that snow has penetrated a large hole in the boot, which has melted and formed inside. The cold from the ice numbs and makes me not feel the lump of ice. I now have 3 choices. 1. To continue without a boot on the right foot. This would mean that the foot would freeze, and in that case would have to be amputated. 2. Continue with the boot on. I would probably then also have to amputate my foot. 3. Leave packing and run home as fast as I can, and change into other shoes. All of these choices lead to the risk of frostbite, but I choose choice number 3. If I'm lucky, I can manage the footing and can hurry back, but I have to be fast. I have to get back and get the gear, and get to the cabin before dark. I leave both camera and pack and run home. I have trampled up nice tracks to follow, so it is easy to run and it goes fast. Now it's back to full speed, and I hope I don't have to sleep outside during the night in the cold. With my sleeping bag, it is possible, but it is also possible that it will get wet if snow gets into it, which I have to avoid. It is important to put out the fire after yourself even in winter, even though there is only a little ember left. The sky is incredibly beautiful at sunset, so I have to stop for a few seconds and watch. It's a shame I had to turn around, but now I don't have far to go and I might make it before dark. Luckily, the animals have trodden a nice path right where I'm going. I hope it's like that the rest of the way. Finally I'm there, but now there isn't much daylight left. If I had arrived 30 minutes later, I would have had to walk the last bit in the dark. Now I have to quickly chop wood so I can heat the cabin, but that will have to wait until the next episode. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode when I sleep over in the cabin. You are also welcome to click the like button, so I know if I should continue making videos. See you in the next episode, and don't forget to wash clothes.